Come spend the day with me in Seoul, South Korea. Today on the agenda was the Blue House, which is Cheongwade, basically Korea's version of the White House. I've actually been once before, but I remember being so fascinated by it that I wanted to go again. I don't know if going to the same place twice is a bit much, but the whole area is just so grand and really beautiful, so it felt worth it. When I checked on the map though, it looked like it wasn't open to the public. But I still wanted to spend some time around there anyway. While I was looking at what else was nearby, I came across Cheongwade Sarangche. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but I thought I'd go and see. First things first is lunch, or I guess breakfast depending on how you look at it. But on days like this, it usually turns into more of a brunch situation for me, and then I'll end up eating out for dinner. I had tteokguk, and this was actually my first time trying it. It's a traditional Korean dish that's usually eaten on Seollal, which is Korean New Year. I've always loved trying traditional Korean food. Honestly, it's one of my favorite cuisines just because there's always a meaning behind it, even in something really simple. Tteokguk is basically a rice cake soup. It has a light broth, usually beef-based, thinly sliced rice cakes, egg, and sometimes seaweed or scallions depending on how it's made. It's simple but really comforting in a way that doesn't feel heavy. It's filling, it's warm, and the rice cakes have this soft but slightly chewy texture that makes every bite feel a bit more satisfying. Traditionally, it's eaten on New Year's Day because it symbolizes starting the year fresh and also gaining a year in age. It just felt like the perfect way to start the day. After that, I went to Cheongwade Sarangche. I didn't really know what to expect going in, but it ended up being one of those places that's just really easy to spend time in without feeling like you have to rush through everything. Before even going inside, just being in the area felt like part of the experience. You're surrounded by this really open space, and then in the distance, you can literally see a mountain sitting right behind everything. It's something I still notice every time I walk around Seoul, but it never really stops feeling impressive. Just standing there and looking up, seeing a mountain in the middle of the city is something I'm always a bit in awe of. Cheongwade Sarangche is described as an open cultural space, and that actually makes sense once you're inside. It's set up almost like a mix between an exhibition space and a travel theme library. A lot of it is focused on Korean tourism and culture, so instead of being something you can just look at quickly, it kind of encourages you to slow down and explore different sections depending on what interests you. The building itself is split across a couple of floors and everything is really accessible. There are exhibition halls, but also practical spaces like a cafe, a gift shop, lockers, and even things like a nursing room and accessible restrooms. It feels very open and easy to navigate, which makes it more comfortable to just stay for a while rather than just walk through once. What I liked is that it doesn't feel like a place where you have to do everything in order. You can just pick a direction and see where you end up. There are sections where people were just sitting and reading, almost like an indoor park in a way. There were plenty of books available, and I ended up just picking up one and just sitting for a bit after walking around. It was actually really nice to just pause for a moment and not just be moving all the time. There were also families there, and it's very clearly a place that works well for kids too. There's a section where they can draw and kind of just hang out, which gives it a really relaxed atmosphere. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's only for kids. There are just as many spaces for adults to sit down, read, or just take a break. I genuinely really like this place. It feels like a bit of a hidden gem, the kind of spot you don't really expect to end up spending much time in, but then you do. If I wasn't living so far from here, I feel like I'd come back quite often just to sit and reset for a bit. There's something about the atmosphere that makes you naturally slow down without really trying. You're not rushing from one thing to the next. You're just moving through it at your own pace, or even just sitting still for a while. I ended up staying there for a while, longer than I expected, just sitting and reading. At some point, I looked up and realized I'd been there for quite a bit without really thinking about it. When I eventually stepped back outside, that's when it kind of hit me that I'd been on my feet for a while earlier. I was definitely tired and also suddenly really hungry again. For dinner, I didn't want to think too hard, so I just got something quick, which ended up being a teriyaki burger. It was exactly what I needed at that point, nothing complicated, just something warm and filling. I feel like after a day where you've been walking and taking in a lot of information, it's kind of nice to not overthink your food. You just eat and that's it. I went home after that and thought I was done for the day. I sat down for a bit, just resting, but then I had that feeling that the day wasn't fully finished yet. I always want something sweet at the end of the day. It's not even about being hungry, it just feels like a routine at this point. So I decided to go back out, which normally I wouldn't do, but the subway here makes it really easy. I actually like using it. It's straightforward and even going somewhere a bit further doesn't feel like a big effort. So I took the subway to Bowman. I went to make a coffee, which I go to quite a lot. There's one near where I live, but it closes pretty early. So this felt like a good excuse to go a bit further. Every time I go, I end up standing there for a while just looking at the menu, even if I already know what I want. They've been adding new things recently, and one of them is acai bowls, which I didn't expect from a place like this. It kind of caught my attention, so I wanted to try it. I did think about getting a coffee as well, but it was late and I knew it wasn't the most prudent choice. I would have ended up staying awake for no reason, so I decided against it. It just felt like the right call at the time. That's everything from me today. I'll probably just head in now and call it a night.